All right, welcome to Higher Education Podcast.
Welcome, guys.
I'm Jonas,
I'm Valentine.
and today we have a very special, dear to my heart guest.
Very dear to our heart.
His name's EJ. EJ, say what up.
What's up? My name is EJ.
So EJ's our roommate here at our house.
Yep. He
And-
sleeps right next door to me, right next door to Jonas,
Yeah.
technically.
Sometimes I sneak in and check him out.
He doesn't like us being in his room, though, but we go in.
No one, honestly, I feel kind of bad. No one's ever been in my room all that often.
I mean,
feel like
Your
it's a cool thing.
cat,
That's a
your
cool thing
cat
to
has
have.
been in my room more than anyone else in this house.
My cat goes fucking everywhere.
Really?
He's so annoying. Like,
Damn, that's official.
I'll lose him. Like, I'll lose him every once in a while.
I feel bad keeping him, like, closing the door on him, but, like, when he's in my room, he just runs around. Like, he sees something in my room, and I don't like it.
You should see him in the middle of the fucking night, dude.
Yeah.
I'll be trying to sleep, and he'll run all around the house. He'll go onto my windowsill and then jump on my back.
Yeah, I'm curious to know like what he does during the night. Like, do
Actually-
you have any weird stories to bring up, like what he does during the night?
Just weird sounds, and certain times I'll be like sleeping, and I'll wake up to him sitting, staring at me and purring, and I'm wondering how long has he been staring at me for?
You know what that made me think about?
What?
There's one Instagram video where like I haven't gone to the barber in like years, but I can relate to the memes a little bit. And there was this one barber who like he records every like haircut he does, like how those barbershop IGs do. And he recorded this one guy where he was just cutting his hair, cutting his bangs with scissors. And the guy just starts staring into the eyes of the barber. And the barber's like,
God.
Stop doing that, please. Stop looking at me. Don't look at me.
Eyes
He's
in the
like,
ground.
please stop.
Yeah, like I feel like we just all just know that unwritten rule to not look into the eyes of someone who's like working on you. Whether
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
threading
Unless
your
they're
eyebrows.
blowing you. If they're blowing you, then you want that eye
you can
contact.
do that
Definitely.
in that case.
But when it comes to, like, I mean, we're still animals. And in animal culture, staring something in the eyes is like a threat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
So
trying to
can't-
fight them.
You
But
can't
he
do
didn't-
that to a person
He didn't
either.
even look
you know?
threatening. He just looked weird. He just looked like into it. Like, all right.
Like,
cut
that's
my
a,
bangs.
like, looking at someone in the eyes, like, first level intimacy. Like, it's not
Yeah.
weird, but if you're doing it to a stranger, like, it's weird.
It was odd.
Like, I can do it with Jonas.
Jonas is doing
Yeah.
it right now.
But
You know what's the best part about having EJ on here?
What is it?
He's my half Venezuelan brother.
Yes.
yes, I am Venezuelan.
He's part of
Half.
this one.
Yeah.
Half. Oh,
So
dude.
you're
And
the
ha-
minority here.
And
I
half
am a
black.
minority.
Well, Valentine's black.
Valentine's not
I'm actually
black.
about to find out how much black I am because my mom just took a DNA ancestry test, and I'm just gonna take her results.
Well,
do the
I
math.
mean, we're all black in ancestry.
True. Yeah. Actually, yeah. We all come from Africa.
Yeah, the first mitochondria ever was black.
And mitochondria is
Some of the first isopods were black.
What's an isopod?
So
it's like that one pod.
some amount of millions and millions of years ago, the first species or the first life on Earth were sea creatures, and among those were these things called isopods. And so they're pretty much like insects. You ever seen a pill bug?
Yeah.
They're a lot like that, but they were like they were way larger because they were like I'm pretty sure they were like the dominant species.
Mhm.
But apparently I'm sure like it's hard to tell what color certain animals are when like that long ago, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they were black, according to pictures that I've
some
seen.
some of them ain't black. They're like brown tannish.
Well, nowadays you gotta look at like the first
like the
isopods
ancient
don't
ones?
look like that. Yeah,
Because there was no sun.
I mean maybe
That makes sense. That does make sense.
Talking about the sun.
They do look weird.
Speaking of celestial bodies,
Yeah. Our topic today is going to be space.
We're gonna be talking about outer space.
Yeah. And I'm surprised we haven't done this one. Like,
Yeah, honestly, I felt like at this point we were getting to the point of running out of ideas. To
No,
just
we're
talk
never
about the
gonna run
topic.
out of ideas.
True, but yeah, space was a whole different field that we never even thought about.
I mean, space is a must for
It
like,
is a must.
any
Like,
to learn
podcast.
about anything.
I might even put it up there with like oceans.
Because space is involved with any inquiry a human has. you
We
know?
are space itself.
It's natural for us to question.
We live in space.
We're stardust.
Exactly. So it's natural for us to question the environments we live in. So on
Unless
a podcast,
we're flat earthers, then we don't really believe in space.
are any of you flat earthers?
I'm just kidding.
I'm certainly not.
Today's not a safe day or a safe time to be putting yourself out there as a flat earther.
Why? Why is that?
No,
Just
because you're
nowadays.
gonna get shit on.
Yeah, nowadays.
I was watching a documentary on flat earthers, and people who like came out and were like literally came out of the closet to say they're flat earthers.
It's kind of they're like embarrassed.
Yeah, and their parents like disown them. They lose their relationships.
Dude, I mean, yeah, that's like
Anti-vaxxers.
thinking. I mean, honestly, I think thinking the Earth is flat is almost on the same level as thinking the Holocaust didn't happen. Like,
Yeah,
it's like so
It's
obviously
offensive
wrong.
now to scientists or just to people who have explored Earth.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, it's
Earth
way
hustlers.
more horrible
No.
to say 11 million people didn't die, but like, it's just as stupid.
Yeah, I mean
11 fucking million people.
that's sad. We have to do a Holocaust episode,
Or maybe, yeah.
or maybe not.
We'll see.
Maybe not.
No, but I watched a documentary and there was this flat earther who's like, "Oh yeah, the reason the Earth isn't flat is because when I am standing on one side of the beach, I can see towers on the other side of the beach. If the Earth curves, how could I see that?"
Okay. Well, there's a lot wrong with that, but the first thing is scientifically is you don't rely on your own perspective as
Yeah,
like evidence.
Yeah,
If you've ever listened to the good word of Neil deGrasse Tyson, you never do that.
I thought you were gonna say Jesus.
No.
Same thing.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is the Jesus of science.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Basically.
I want to shoot him, see if he comes back 3 days later.
Kind of miss him.
Who's to know?
Let's cut that out.
Yeah, that shouldn't be in there.
It's gonna be in there.
Shout out to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
I thought it would be fun to start it out with a size comparison test.
Oh,
Size of what?
I'm gonna give you 2 things. You have to tell me what's bigger.
Oh, sick.
Oh, I'm ready for that.
This is pretty exciting.
Let's start with this. What's bigger, Mars or Pluto?
Mars.
Mars, of course.
Yeah,
Pluto
of course,
wasn't even
Mars.
considered a planet.
Otherwise-
I'm starting this easy.
Okay.
All right.
Well, should we talk about why?
Sure.
Why we know? Well, if Pluto was larger than Mars, then Pluto wouldn't be
A dwarf.
Yeah, it wouldn't be considered a dwarf
Yeah.
planet. Mars would.
Wait, wasn't it? All right. So, like, when we were in elementary school, Pluto was considered a planet, right?
Yeah.
And then, I don't know what point it was, but maybe middle school or something like that, it wasn't considered a planet.
Yeah.
But then up until recently, just like a few years ago, it's reconsidered
No,
as
yeah,
something else.
it's like I don't know what
So what
his
is it?
position is, but there's a guy in NASA who's like, I want to make Pluto a planet again, and people in like the science community are like, no, dude, you're stupid. It's a dwarf planet. Like,
how is he stupid though? Like,
Yeah,
we
but
don't
I
know.
well,
mean-
that's what the science like. That's what like I guess established scientists consider. Like, they're like, we already decided that it's not large enough to be its own planet, and I don't know the actual like requirements for what makes a planet a dwarf planet and then something that is just like an asteroid or something.
Yeah.
Or like a moon or like I don't know the actual requirements,
Yeah.
but
My guess is like size and gravitational pull, something like that.
But I mean, it's pretty big, Pluto. Like compared to us.
well, I mean, I don't know. Is Pluto larger than our own moon?
I don't know.
Because if it isn't any larger than our own moon or is the same size, then I wouldn't see why it would be considered a planet.
True.
That's why, like, I think that's why they make the distinction. They wouldn't have done it for no reason. I feel like.
Pluto is only half as wide as the United States, so it's smaller than
Oh
our moon.
shit.
See,
Half
So-
as wide as the United States
of America.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's like-
fuck that. That's not
that's
a
a
fucking
country.
planet.
That's a
Yeah,
floating
if
country.
you guys watch Dragon Ball Z, that's like a little bit bigger than fucking I forgot his name, but the dude who trained
Namek?
Goku,
Not
Namek.
No, I'm
Kai?
talking about the
Yeah,
Supreme
yeah.
Kai.
Supreme
His
Kai?
his planet was like literally like 3 feet wide.
So his planet was practically YouTube.
Pretty much.
Not YouTube. Pluto. What the fuck?
I just agreed because I had no fucking clue what you're talking about. But I'm glad you caught yourself.
Earth versus Mercury.
Earth is larger.
Yeah, Earth is larger.
Earth is larger.
Nice. I'm glad I know this. Kinda.
Do planets go in
Sizes? Like,
size order?
No, I think it
No, but I'm
differentiates.
assuming no, because there are planets smaller than Jupiter that occur after, like, or are positioned
Oh, 'cause
farther.
Pluto was the last one too.
Yeah,
Before
so-
it stopped being a planet.
I don't know the physics that dictates the position of a planet, but I'm pretty sure it might be just like random.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite planet?
Oh, dude,
Saturn.
Neptune.
Neptune has been my favorite planet for a
Dude,
while.
Why
something-
Neptune?
The color.
Something about
the
Neptune.
The
blue?
blueness.
yeah, it's like strangely alluring. Like,
Yeah.
Like
even though like I can't physically be on it because I feel like it's like
even
mostly gas.
Even though every fucking planet other than maybe
Exactly.
Mars and Earth is
Yeah, I'm
uninhabitable,
about to
I think
touch
it's
on
so
that
cool.
soon.
I like Saturn because of the rings.
Dude,
Yeah,
Saturn.
That's what I meant. I thought your answer was gonna be Uranus, to be honest. but Saturn is a close.
Saturn
second.
has to be my second favorite because the rings are just unmatched. But Jupiter is also the largest, so if you like big balls, Jupiter's probably your favorite.
Big balls of gas.
Um,
And Jupiter has so many fucking moons.
all right, for the next one, Earth versus Venus.
I'm gonna have
Venus.
to do my song. Venus is bigger. I'm gonna copy EJ.
You can't copy. I'm gonna make
No.
Valentine answer
Alright,
the next
no.
one first because you already know this
No, wait,
shit.
no, Earth.
Okay.
Earth is bigger.
Are you sure about that?
No.
Don't do that.
I'm not sure at all. Does Venus come after or before?
But we just said that doesn't matter.
I know it doesn't matter, but I feel like it matters at certain points.
Venus is bigger.
Dude, I
fuck.
don't know how I know this actually.
Venus is hotter too, isn't it?
I remember the last time I
It's
took
closer to the
a
sun.
kind of like astronomy class was probably 5th grade. That was the last time I really
No,
learned
yeah.
about our
I
planets.
feel like we learned about like astrology or just like anything outside of the Earth, and then we stopped. I feel like I stopped before even high school. So maybe sometime
When
during
I was
middle
in
school.
when I was in 4th grade in our art class, I drew a picture of like all the planets, and we were doing like it was like a project on like doing like 3D effects for like just color drawings, and so I made like the solar system. So I think I've probably been learning about space since 4th grade. So
But
like-
every year consistently since the 4th grade.
pretty much, I
in
would
like
have to
certain
say.
subjects they would bring it up.
No,
for
but like
understanding
I
it.
guess personally, I've always felt
Oh, so like you
drawn
do this
to
on your own
like
time.
yeah, like having to learn something
Yeah,
about
like-
space. And then one of you showed me that video of actual size comparisons,
Dude,
and I
yeah.
watched that video at least 10 times.
That video will mess you up. It will change your perspective on light and everything.
Yeah,
If
that
you
that
haven't-
video.
I don't know what the title of it is, but like just our
Look
universe.
up
Yeah, something about
planet size comparison.
You'll find
Yeah,
it.
there's a
And-
few, but the best one was the one you showed me.
The one where it
And
just zooms
that
out.
video, and then with the music just starts getting more
Yeah.
intense and more intense every time.
Perfect. way to
That
describe it.
reminds me of something I'm gonna bring up later that I think is pretty
We're
like
ready.
pretty trippy. So,
Fuck
but
yeah.
let's finish this first.
All right. Yeah. Wait, are you bringing us in on a wiki corner right now, or are you about to?
Eventually, yeah.
All right. All right. All right.
So I kind of strayed away from planets because I got bored. Terry Cruz's right pec
I like you. How you
or
know.
Bill Gates' wallet.
Like if you were to put his entire
There's-
net worth into like cash.
Just his wallet.
Just his wallet right now.
I would personally say Bill Gates is not the type of man to
Yeah.
carry a lot of money on him.
Boom.
Me too.
EJ's got it.
Terry Crews. I would
Terry
say the same
Crews.
thing. He's a modest man. Or I'm talking
Yeah,
about Bill.
Bill Gates isn't walking around with hundreds in his pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Bill
Plain
Gates.
white tee.
Bill Gates has like a few credit cards, his Bank of America debit card.
a
Fucker
lanyard.
probably doesn't carry around any money. He's like, I could just say I want something and a fucker will give it to me.
Zuckerberg? Zuckerberg's always wearing a blue shirt.
Where'd you bring Zuckerberg from? We're talking about Bill Gates.
I
Hey,
thought,
yo.
I thought I heard Zuckerberg.
I hope we don't get sued for libel, but fuck that robot.
Wait,
No,
which
he's not a robot.
Zuckerberg.
Hey, no.
He's a lizard.
He's a lizard.
One
Yeah,
of our
that's
like
right.
common phrases for every pod is "fuck Facebook," so we don't give a shit about.
Mm.
We can slander him all the time. if we want.
Then allow me to partake.
Okay.
Fuck Facebook.
Hell yeah. All right, the Great Wall of China or the Empire State Building?
Okay, but are we talking in terms of length
Just
or in
like
terms?
mass?
Just
Like
what's
if I
bigger?
if I flipped the Empire State Building and then compared it to the Great Wall of China,
The Great Wall of China?
Yeah, the Great Wall of China. That's what my answer would be.
Yeah, that was the easy one.
Okay, cool.
Shrek's earwax or the Three Blind Mice?
Where did you get like the accurate answer for this?
This-
yeah. How do we know this is right?
Yeah.
These are kind of just based on what I thought.
Shrek's earwax or Three Blind Mice?
I would say his ears aren't that big.
Yeah, they're
so
not that big. They're
maybe
kinda like they remind me of some kind of pasta.
Yeah, but they're long, and he goes deep in there to get
And
his
are,
earwax.
are we talking about like life mice or the mice that were in the film? Because the mice that were in the film were a little bit bigger than like actual
I'm
mice.
talking the
They're
ones
kind-
in the film because
they're
they're the
kinda
three
big.
blind.
I would
ones.
say if I were to stack them, they'd be larger than his earwax.
I don't know. I said earwax.
You said earwax?
I said
I
yeah,
knew
I was gonna
I
say
knew you
mice.
did, but I can't let that
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't let you think that. So
Look
I'm gonna
at
say
them.
mice.
Those mice were big.
I don't know. We're gonna stick with his earwax.
They were more like rats
All
or
right.
anything.
We'll get to the bottom.
Valentine's penis or his tailbone?
Dude, what does tailbones even fucking look like? I haven't seen an X-ray.
His penis, definitely.
I say his tailbone.
I'm glad you answered. I side with EJ's answer. 100%.
That's 2 versus 1. We win.
All right, I guess your tailbone will win. Cardi B's
my
fingernails or America's debt?
America's dead.
I said Cardi B's fingernails.
She does have fucking fingernails like a velociraptor.
I haven't seen her fingernails, but I know that she'd be the type to have a long ass fingernail.
Yeah.
Or a long ass fingernails.
I saw a tweet from her the other day, and it was, if I went to school and studied a little bit longer, I could be in Congress. And then she put another tweet a little while ago, and
Does
it was
she
like,
have-
I just shat on my fingers.
Wait, that can't be real.
How far between?
Dude, Cardi B, have you like watched
No.
her talk?
No.
Oh,
She's a funny person.
She's dumb. She's dumb.
Oh. Well, they're still successful though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, props to her for being successful.
And
But
for sounding like Patrick Starr, I mean that's pretty impressive.
That sound like Patrick Starr. But talking about her long fingernails, this has been like brought up as a question in like a meme format. But like people ask, like, how the fuck do you like wipe your ass when you have long ass fingernails? And I always wondered that too.
Are they fake or are they real? Because if they're fake, you can just take them off.
You take up all of them off.
no,
your hand? I
but
feel
you're
like
not
it's
gonna
hassle.
take them off every time you shit.
You don't put them back on. Like when the day is over, you just take them off.
No,
So
but
you don't-
people
you
keep
gotta
these on for weeks.
You would have to reserve your shit until
People
the end
keep
of
on
the day.
fake fingernails.
Yeah, because they're hard to take off. I remember Blanca, she got like fake ones for like a quinceañera, and to take them off, she had to work hard
Yeah.
to
So
take
what if
off.
you have
They're
to,
not
like,
easily
what do
taken
you-
off.
Yeah. What do you have to like shit midday?
Well,
Not
I
the
mean,
end
if
of the day.
she's rich, she probably has someone to wipe her ass for her, honestly.
I wouldn't want
I would
that.
never get into that point
Dude,
where I'm comfortable like
Dude,
that.
there's some freaks out there. They'd probably be happy to wipe Cardi B's ass.
Oh, you're right.
No, that's probably a fetish, definitely.
That is definitely gotta be a fetish.
But I don't think Cardi B has someone wiping her ass for her.
Definitely not. Realistically, no.
No,
but-
because imagine the hassle of having to call someone over to wipe your
Hey,
ass for
look,
you.
It's a possibility that she doesn't wipe at all.
Oh.
I don't want to put that image in your head, but she probably.
My hero.
You know what would be like the most useless product?
What?
Brown toilet paper.
Why?
Because then you can't see.
How would you know?
Look,
how
if the
clean you
shit
are.
is chunky, like you're gonna know.
Why are you wiping chunky shit?
So
Put that in the toilet.
It's always gotta be chunky then.
You don't just shit on the toilet paper and then throw it in the toilet.
Like a fucking
The
dog.
way that you just said it
You
to me
just-
right now, it made me think like he shat directly onto his toilet paper every time.
No. What EJ's doing is he's going into the bathroom. He's pulling some keys and shit. So let me tell you this story.
Wait, your roommate? Your old roommate?
We had this guy in our dorm.
His name is Bob.
Damn, I shouldn't have said his name, but I said his fucking name. So his name was Keeson.
Dude,
And
no.
he used to go into the stalls of our dorms, and he would squat, spread his butt cheeks, and shit on paper in the ground, and then like finger it.
Just to dissect it, just to see, if it's all good and ready, if his stools were fine. That's what I'm expecting. I don't know.
Our bathroom would smell so fucking bad.
Oh, you would know when
Dude,
it's happening.
you know what some of the freshmen in skate club tell me? They're telling me there's always somebody, not always, but like it's common for people to just take a shit in the communal showers.
What?
That was not common
That
for
never
us.
happened to us.
No.
Dude, I don't know what it is, but like he was just I was there the other day and he was telling me like, yeah, someone shit in the showers, and I'm like,
Dude, that's
what?
fucked up.
I'm like, what kind of fucking freaks do you have coming
Dude.
to the school? Like,
honestly.
any kind of like.
For me, like I'd be thinking about just like the anticipation of someone fucking opening up the blinds as soon as they're like seeing me squatting right there trying to shit.
that's not private.
Yeah.
That's
That
another
is not
thing with that
private.
kid. Like,
You'd have an adrenaline rush.
he has to know that we came in there while he was doing this shit.
You can hear the door swing.
This alien ass kid. And that's the thing. When EJ said that that's what he does with his toilet paper, I just imagine him in our bathroom putting down toilet paper on the ground, shitting on it, and then throwing it in the toilet.
I don't actually do that. I shit like a normal person, but I just.
Have you-
Anyways,
have you guys ever tried shitting with your feet forward and using the top of the toilet as like a table?
I heard about that. I heard about how, how in certain countries in the world there's just holes in the ground essentially for like the toilet.
Yeah, in China they do it like that.
Yeah, and you just squat and shit into the hole.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's supposed to be better for you. Like that's easier for you to just release your poop, I guess.
Apparently, the way we give birth is actually like
Wrong?
inferior. Not necessarily wrong, because
not
I mean, if it were wrong, every
True.
woman who has a baby would die. But it's like less efficient than the way we used to give birth lower in the evolutionary chain, where I think it was like a squatting position or something. Like it was. We used to give birth. The way chimps like give birth is more efficient.
So they gave birth like Chinese people take shits.
I guess, yeah.
Damn.
No, because I think I've read a bunch of stories about how people just accidentally have given birth while shitting or while like in the position to shit. And then their babies or their fetuses or whatever pop out into the fucking toilet bowl and they're like, oh shit, I don't have to deal with this.
I don't have to deal with it. I think that's something you have to deal with.
This,
You're gonna always have to deal with a fucking baby.
If you got it from the toilet and there's a fucking baby in the toilet
How
instead
the
of
fuck do you not know when you're pregnant for like
dude,
when I went to the emergency room, I was talking to the nurse and I'm like, yo, what's the craziest thing that's happened here? And she's like, some girl went to go take a shit and then we heard a baby crying.
Yeah. So it happens more often than you think that people are pregnant and they carry through their entire pregnancy without even knowing.
That's so ridiculous. How do you not know?
You don't show
anything
you
is
don't
possible.
Feel anything. Yeah.
And here's 3 guys talking about how ridiculous it is that a woman can't feel that a baby's.
Yeah,
I wouldn't fucking know.
At all.
We're not trying to make any laws on abortion or anything.
I barely know how periods work, so definitely not the source of information.
All right.
Anyway, space.
And with that, we're gonna get into Valentine's first topic.
All right. So basically, for my entire just notes, I looked up like a Reddit thread or a bunch of Reddit threads about just what scares you the most about space in general, or just the universe. So I sectioned it off into like 3 different parts. So let me get into my first one. My first one comes from a Reddit user called Frenetic Platypus, and he basically said like the thing that scares him the most about the universe is nothingness, just the idea of nothingness.
Dude, the universe is completely silent.
That's scary.
Phonetic Platypus, I assure you that the universe is full
Yeah, it's full of shit.
of empty objects such as stars and other planets.
True, but then for those stars and planets to exist, there's a bunch of space in between them.
Yeah.
So
I can see.
The scariest part about just the universe, according to this person, is that there's a lot of nothing. There's more nothing than you can imagine. Like
there's more nothing than there is something, because
Yeah.
if there was more, like there's trillions and trillions of stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's still like it would take us not light years, because that's not.
What's a light year?
I think it's a measurement of distance,
Yeah.
not time.
It's how long it takes for
How-
light to travel within a year. And
Yeah.
Obviously,
I thought it was the distance light travels within a year.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
to put it,
But
yeah.
then, like, apparently, light travels the fastest out of all things in the universe.
Okay, so then a light year is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
then,
long
like,
time.
the amount of time it takes for us to just get to, like, a random star that we see in the sky, like, is crazy. And that means there's nothing between us and that star.
That's nuts. There's no traffic.
No,
And it'll
that's-
still
yeah.
take us hours to get there.
One good part about it, I guess.
No traffic.
One trivial part about it.
Which is, like, it's, like, you gotta ask, like, the thing is, I don't know if, like, for a phonetic platypus, but the thing for me is, in terms of, like, the idea of nothingness, would be, like, the fear of never, ever being able to, like, discover those things that you see. They're,
Exactly.
like, they're
That's one
constantly
thing.
there in your view, but you'll
never get to them
Yeah.
because you're just so far away.
And-
do you think in our lifetime, floating, how far do you think we can get?
Well,
Just floating. Saying that we could live in space.
Just floating?
Yeah. And we could control our direction. How long do you think it would take us to get to Mars?
I think we'd want to die before
take
that.
us to get to Mars? Probably. I feel like getting to Mars probably wouldn't be that long.
No, but we're not on like a rocket ship that's going
We're just
fucking
floating?
hundreds of miles an hour. We're just floating there.
Well, that
take
depends,
so
because the thing about space is there is some amount of friction if we're speaking technically, but it depends on the force that we're projected with, you know?
True.
Like if I were to push myself off of an object and then I would keep floating towards Mars, depending on how hard I pushed myself, it would change, but that would take forever, obviously, because it's like, I don't know the distance between Earth and Mars, but it's definitely like 1,000,000 miles at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can all agree, like, basically, between all these objects floating around in space, there's a bunch of nothingness. But what does that even mean when you really ask
Nothingness?
How do you define
nothingness?
How do humans conceive what this nothingness actually
I got it. Close one eye. What you see out of that eye that you have closed is nothingness.
The eye that
But
you
I'm not
closed,
seeing nothingness.
It's just because you don't know. So
I'm seeing the back of my eyelid, which is blocking the light rays.
Okay,
Technically
fuck
speaking.
you. But what you're seeing is nothingness.
But so
Essentially, yeah.
I would disagree, because even when there is nothing, like what you could describe as nothingness would be the absence of matter, but there's matter everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know about space, but I'm pretty sure in space there's something there at least. And then there's antimatter, which we don't really understand at all.
Fuck. Don't even get me started on antimatter and shit like that. But for I guess human standards, there's just nothingness there.
Yeah,
like,
nothingness, I guess, would be the things that we can't touch. So
yeah.
air would be nothingness because
Yeah.
I can't physically catch air.
No type of stimulation whatsoever, I feel like. So yeah, when you're there, like, just say we put ourselves somewhere, just say like in between Mars and Earth, and we're in like a space of nothingness. When you're there, what are you trying to do? Like, what are you trying to figure out?
What do you mean?
Like, if you're trying to just understand what's here in this space between Mars and Earth, what can you do to figure anything about that?
I don't think you can do jack
you can't
shit.
do anything. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's beyond our mental
Yeah, it is
capabilities
beyond,
as
Yeah,
humans.
I can't think like that. That's way too ahead of
Exactly.
my time.
Like, when you're there, when you're say that you're just placed, dragged and dropped into like a random spot there between Mars and Earth, you're just floating, or you can use like I guess like a spaceship or something like that. You can travel any kind of direction and not reach anything for like millions and billions of years. And that, I don't know. I'd rather choose to
Die.
That's
I'd
what-
rather be fucking
Honestly,
dead.
I mean, dropping people off in the middle of the ocean on a boat would be enough
That's
to drive
exactly-
them crazy.
that's
So
exactly
in
what I
space,
imagine
where it's
space.
way
Yeah.
more,
I'm
think
so
about
glad that we can't survive up there.
Yeah, think about being like
because you don't think to go up there by mistake, thinking it will be fun, and then it ends up you're just floating in space forever.
Have you ever like just driven somewhere and like looked into the side of the window and see like a forest with a bunch of trees everywhere and nothing but trees for miles, basically?
Dude, sometimes on the freeway I feel that lost.
Yeah, you on the freeway, you just feel the secondhand lostness of just looking at the forest itself.
But not just that, just driving on the
Oh,
freeway and
yeah.
going straight and
Exactly.
just going straight and
'Cause
just going
there's just-
straight. It just feels
It's just everything
Like
around
you're
you is the
dying.
same.
Yeah.
I get that.
Especially on the East Coast, when I'm going from where I live to like the actual city area of where in Maryland,
Uh-huh.
like there's so many woods, like just woods areas that surround the roads, and you can't see the end of it. And it's like, dude, it just like you kind of imagine it as like stretching on infinitely, and you're like, that would be too much for me to be in like something that just stretches on to infinity. But well, I would say the universe actually like isn't infinite, like, or like it is expanding, but there is like an end to it. Not like an end that we would ever be able to reach with our current technology or perhaps any technology, but there is like an end to the actual like universe, because we're apparently like the area that we would consider the universe is like just it's like radiation,
yeah.
and it's like surrounding, sort of like making this like area that is that comprises like everything that is within our universe.
True.
I don't know if that's a theory. I mean, I'm assuming it's a theory because we can't really like prove that in any way, but
Dude, space fucks me up.
That's the thing. Sometimes I think about when I look up in the sky, and you know how you see like when there is no when the sun goes down and all you see is the blackness. I'm like, is that the border of the universe? Is that the end of the universe that we see?
Because the blackness.
Because yeah, like even if it is like light years and light years away, when there's no like light obstructing our view of space, like what if that blackness we see is just like the outer wall of the universe?
We can't prove that wrong or right. That kind of.
I mean, that might sound stupid to someone who's like a lot more educated than I am, but like
I mean,
sometimes I think about it. Like, what if that's like, because you know when you're in a room, right, and you stare at the wall, and like
that's the end of the room.
Yeah,
that is. Yeah.
And so like, what if like the black stuff, like, and if I was like at the end of the universe where like the very outer bounds of it, like what would I see?
But is there an end to the universe?
Well, if it's expanding,
so
not
the universe is like constantly growing, yeah. Like,
so like technically there wouldn't be an end if it's constantly growing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So there wouldn't be an end to look at.
Well, the thing is, if it's growing, at some point, it's probably gonna stop. And I think there's a theory where our universe is eventually gonna like consume itself.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And that's way beyond our lifetime. But
yeah, I mean the Earth might be non-existent by the time that happens. So.
True. Yeah, we won't be here.
So much shit.
Sorry, my great grandchild.
I mean, yeah. The thing that I think is scary about space is that the Earth can end at any moment. Like nature can take us whenever.
We're just trusting it right now. We're just going with the flow.
An earthquake can come and just fuck all our shit up.
Yeah, that's on a smaller scale. Even that's for our daily lives. That's a big scale kind of thing.
Yeah.
But just the big one for California's big earthquake that we're all anticipating for the last 10 years to happen.
Dude, I don't even fucking believe in the big one anymore.
I don't know. I feel like
I just keep hearing, the big one's coming. I don't think so.
You guys
I don't think so. Watch, it comes right now in the middle of this.
Don't tempt it.
No, dude, big one, come at me.
Yeah, no, that's just like the uncertainty of like the universe is.
But I think that's also kind of fun.
The spontaneous.
Yeah,
the
like dude, like we might die tomorrow. We should work hard to do what we can today.
Dude, the universe is like such a Capricorn. Like it just doesn't know what's gonna happen.
Fuck, I hate the universe. That Libra
all
bitch.
Comes full circle.
Jupiter's in fucking retrograde.
What does that mean?
Oh my god.
Why does it always feel like Jupiter's in retrograde?
That's the only phrase
I don't know what that
hear.
feels like.
Yeah, what does it mean that Jupiter's in retrograde?
Jupiter's in retrograde, huh?
I think it just means it's in a specific alignment to the Earth or the Sun.
Isn't there a time when all the planets align together?
Yeah.
Is that when Jupiter's in retrograde?
Because then wouldn't all the planets be in retrograde at that point?
What does retrograde mean?
It's like retro meaning old, grade as in the things you get at the end of your class. So
retrograde means
before old,
moving backwards.
Jupiter moves backwards.
Oh, actually, yeah. I think it's the appearance of a planet moving backwards. It's not actually moving backwards, but from our perspective of Earth, it appears to be.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like when something spins really fast that it starts looking like it's spinning the other way.
Oh, like
yeah.
those
If you ever
optical
stand
illusions?
at like a ceiling fan long enough, it'll look like
it's going both directions.
With that one guy with his foot swinging out, you guys know what I'm talking about. That one GIF of that guy.
No,
I really don't know what you're talking about.
That one guy going clockwise.
The first thing he says is, "You guys know what I'm talking about."
Yeah, we're both like, nah.
I'm
No,
just
what the
assuming
hell
so,
are you
but like,
talking
you guys never seen that GIF of that one guy going like counterclockwise and then at a certain
First of
point,
all, when you're in my
clockwise?
fucking room, you say GIF, not GIF.
Did I say GIF?
Yeah.
GIF?
GIF is correct though.
Yeah, but I don't like
yeah,
it.
I've said GIF all my life too. I'm a GIFer. But
I'm a taker.
I've seen a bunch. I'm a GIFer. I'm a taker. I've seen a bunch of those optical illusions. I know what you're talking about though. But yeah, Jupiter's in retrograde. Now we know what that means. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my first little topic. Just nothingness. The amount of nothingness can kind of get to you, and the fact that it even takes forever for light to get from nothingness to something, which light being the fastest thing to travel in time. That scares us. Like a light taking 1,000 years to get to a certain spot, like a rock that's floating in space somewhere, being the fastest tool. I think that scares me because I'm not going to travel as fast as light ever.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, I wonder, like, I mean, I know there's nothing that we know of as a race or as the human race that travels faster than light, but what if there is something out there that can travel faster than light?
We can't rule that out.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Because we made the light year because we have lights and we can, like, we know how fast they travel.
Maybe that shit's not even accurate.
No, you can go into yours.
All right, so mine's kind of long, so if yours is shorter, you can go into yours.
I mean, it's off the top of my head, so it'll probably be shorter.
You can go.
Okay.
We can end with mine because mine's a doozy.
So I guess my topic would be like space as it is represented in like films and video games. So one of my favorite movies is The Thing from 1982, and it's basically about this spaceship that crashes into the Arctic, and this team of they're just like scientists. There are a lot of people who like go to the Arctic to examine maybe like fossils. And I think it's one of those teams, and they discover the spaceship. Well, actually, a Norwegian team found it first, and then they found out that the Norwegian people had it, and so they go to their base, and they find this spaceship, and they find this weird thing, like it's like it looks like a human, but it's like malformed. So they bring it back to their lab, stupidly, and then it turns out that the thing they brought back was this organism from the spaceship that can mimic human beings.
Wait, this is a movie. This isn't real life.
Okay.
Dude, for a second I'm like, wait, why has no one told me there's fucking aliens?
This is my topic is like space as is represented through like the entertainment industry, and so and this is one of my like favorite movies, and it kind of like brings about this sort of interesting thing of like what could be out there in the universe and how different could it be from ourselves that like we wouldn't even like know how to like interact or react to like something like this, especially if it were like hostile. Definitely. So I guess like extraterrestrial life.
Yeah, I'm about to get into that after you.
No, but I'm about to say.
Okay.
If anyone, I'm talking to all you fuckers out there, anyone does not believe that there is some sort of life that is not us out in space, you're fucking stupid.
You need to watch that one video of just how big the universe actually is.
Yeah,
and then tell me again that we're the only ones in existence right now.
And I'm not talking some fucking little green child running around like, I'm not talking that. I'm talking even the most microscopic sponge-looking shit. That's life.
Interesting fact.
Could be
so apparently the Greys, which are like the little green men, even though they're actually, when we came up with them, were gray. Like the small bodies, large head, big black eyes.
Yeah, they were gray.
They weren't actually depictions of what extraterrestrials would look like, but actually depictions of what we were supposed to look like some amount of years from now after we evolved to a certain point because of the growing use of technology.
I did not know
and
that.
So what I proposed as an idea is that the aliens that we've seen in places like Roswell, where they say that allegedly there was a spaceship crashing and UFO sightings, I would say that those are not actually aliens but time travelers.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
EJ just blew this fucking door open.
I just learned that fact right now.
So like I would, and that's why like the government can, like they'll hide it, and it's not because it's something that's totally outside of us. It's because these are like U.S. fucking like pilots who are crashing on Earth trying to travel through time, and these are like experiments, and they're like, oh fuck, okay, like time travel's real, and we're testing it in the future, and they're coming back in time and crashing. We gotta hide this shit.
But that's assuming that time travel can actually happen.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if we actually, because according, I'm gonna bring up Neil deGrasse Tyson. According to guys like Carl Sagan and Neil deGrasse Tyson, what they theorize is that aliens, if they went through an entirely different evolutionary chain, would look nothing like humans. And I mean nothing like humans as in they wouldn't have necessarily 2 eyes, nose, mouth, ears, like the set of limbs that we have. They wouldn't have that kind of thing. Because how we are right now biologically was based off millions of years of evolution dependent on our environment. Yes, so if they came from another planet, they wouldn't look anything like us. So if we have aliens that look like Greys, either it's the imagination of some very creative like individual, or they have to be linked to humans somehow.
Yeah, because for them to have like arms, fingers, legs, like
Yeah.
all of those are traits that
Yeah.
are for us because it helps us live in this world. But there's no way that we could say that another planet is similar to Earth in any way, shape, or form.
Exactly.
There could be aliens out there that are living on fucking farts instead of anything.
On farts.
Instead
Or-
of oxygen.
Yeah,
Like just
like
that
gas
was
or
just-
something,
Yeah,
you know?
like some other form of breathing. Because it could even not be gas. There's some people that get their life from like solids
Or just, yeah.
or
exactly.
some other material that we haven't
Or
even
light.
ever experienced.
And actually, yeah, that's the thing about the film The Thing that I actually really liked is the aliens depiction is very realistic. Like you don't know its actual form, its original form, but you know that the way it operates is totally alien from everything that we like are familiar with in nature. And so that's what it makes it like kind of like scary, is because you don't like, it's just something that's totally different from anything that we could ever even imagine. And obviously, like, it being able to mimic humans is kind of something we've probably seen in some form of media before. But like in terms of like actually what's out there, like something that is out of our realm of like grasp, like we wouldn't be able to comprehend what it is. It could be like higher dimensional beings too, which we would be completely defenseless with.
And we couldn't even fucking see them.
Yeah, like we wouldn't even be able to perceive them, and they would be able to like just kill you the same way like we could kill like an ant, you know?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and like I don't know, like to be
Exactly.
an ant to something else like would just be so
weird,
terrifying.
yeah. All right, I have a question for you guys. Say we were to like encounter aliens just to meet them. Would you think that the first kind of encounter would be us visiting some other life form, or them coming to us? And then on top of that, would they be more advanced than us, or would we be more advanced?
I think it just depends on if they are more advanced.
Yeah.
Because if they aren't more advanced, then we would have to go to them. But
Oh,
if they're
that's
more
true.
advanced than
That
us,
would-
then
yeah.
they would have to come to
That would
us.
infer that
Yeah,
they're
like
more
if they were to
advanced.
come here first, clearly they're
Yeah,
more
they're more
advanced.
Yeah.
But if
But
we
what
were,
if they're just dumb as shit? They're like, oh,
Yeah.
we just got lost here.
well, yeah, like we
But
could.
Then they wouldn't be dumb because somehow they got out of their planet
yeah,
to
but that wasn't
ours.
their goal.
But like, what if we stumbled onto a planet and there is life on the planet, but they're like, say, like dinosaurs, you know, like they're totally just instinctual. They have no intellect. Like, how
How do we go towards?
that would really suck, because the thing is, the dinosaurs only died out because of an asteroid, which means
That's
that
true.
our existence could potentially just be a happy accident. Like, we only exist because of the several extinctions that occurred over Earth's lifetime. And every other planet, the life on there is not intelligent at all, which means there is other life out there, but we're the only intelligent life in the universe.
EJ, you're doing things
No,
to me
that-
today.
that made me think of two different questions, but I was only able to remember one. One was, how do we know like if dinosaurs are not like were intelligent? Like how do we know? Like how intelligent do we know?
I mean,
they were?
I guess based on our understanding of the human brain, or I guess the brains that of species that exist now, like we
Uh-huh.
would know that they would be more,
Instinctual.
yeah, they would base their actions
be
off
more-
like
But that's
instinct.
true. Like,
Animal-like
how do
kinda?
we know for sure?
Because all we have,
It's all
like,
speculation
all we
at
have
this
is just
point.
bones.
Personally, for me, I
It's
like to
fossils.
think that the film 2001: A Space Odyssey is totally correct, and that a weird black chocolate bar came from space and just introduced intelligence to us out of nowhere.
I like
Yeah.
that too. That's why I like chocolate so much.
Oh, I remember my second question. It wasn't a question. It's more like a suggestion. Like, say if we were to encounter aliens, I feel like I'd want them to be smarter than humans.
I feel like smarter than humans,
And
but
more
also
advanced.
like want to help us. Like,
Yeah, I don't want them to attack our ass.
Yeah,
yeah,
that too. That
if
too.
they were like Americans in the 16th century or 17th century when they discovered America, I would be very scared.
I'd Anne Frank
That's
this
the main
shit.
point of why I would rather have them be smarter than us, because I feel like knowing humans, just throughout our whole just history of human civilization, we try to just conquer shit, and we just try to take over things.
Yeah.
And just
And I feel like that's
Take
changing
advantage of
now.
that? Yeah.
With like the generation that we have now, I feel like we're going towards not PC, even though PC is happening. And PC's honestly, I don't like PC, but I think we're a lot more understanding as people, as the further generations.
These days,
come
you
through.
don't see us. I mean, honestly, you could argue that we still are in the conquering phase where we'll go to a country and try to like establish our own form of government.
Yeah, but I think that's dying out more with like the generations above us.
True.
With the generation that we have now, we're a lot chiller. Like we're
less
we're
likely to
very
do
laid
some shit
back.
like that.
I don't think we're gonna try to enslave some kind of alien civilization that
But
visits us.
then that like you think like what if aliens being less likely to go and conquer and pillage and stuff like that is kind of a sign of less intelligence, then extraterrestrial life would be less likely to try and do that to us. Like they wouldn't be like, oh, we're gonna settle here and make you cattle essentially. We're gonna like teach you and like and enlighten you and stuff like that.
That would be so cool.
But
I
then,
would love that.
But what if they were like, oh, these humans are only 2%, as in like only have the ability for like a very small amount of intelligence, so we're gonna treat them like the way we treat chimps.
Oh, that's true. What if they look at us as we look at dogs?
No,
exactly. And they're like, oh, look, little pets.
I hope you don't mind, but I'm gonna get into my next little section because we're talking about aliens right now, and my whole next section is all about aliens. And this is just like a thread
I'm gonna adjust my chair.
brought to you by Green Mask. And what scares her is just the question, just like, what do aliens look like? Because we brought that up. Like, what do aliens even look like?
What's their name?
Green Mask.
Yeah.
Green Mask. That's a cool name.
What do aliens look like, if there are any? But there are people.
Something
aliens.
I've done after seeing a bunch of like alien movies, I looked up scientifically accurate aliens, and I found some cool pictures, like of really weird looking stuff. There's this one I found that was like, it looked kind of like a plant, and it grew up from the ground, and it had like these little hairs around this little hole, and these weird little things would come out of it, and that's how it would reproduce. So it was like kind of like flesh, like us, but it kind of reproduced the same way a plant would.
Well, is it closer to a plant or a human, or like? Just
it's like in between, but the thing is, like, these are humans coming up with extraterrestrial ideas.
Like what it is. It's not anything real.
Yeah, no, this is taking me into a Nintendo kind of zone.
The thing
like
is,
a
though,
Pokemon.
Finding extraterrestrial life could confirm the concept of like a higher deity. Because if, let's say, we do find extraterrestrial life that looks like humans, then that's like evidence that there's a certain image that life is created in,
In like a bigger life form than humans.
All right. Let's say that one more time. So you're saying that if, let's say, extraterrestrial life did happen, and they in some way did mimic us of how we look like, that gives more of, not proof, but more of a
credence.
Steps, credence. More of a credence towards an actual higher being, a deity of some sort. And I can see that.
It would require probably more than one like discovery of extraterrestrial life, but if let's say we found several planets with life on it and they all were very similar to humans, we could say that there is a certain like just inevitability for life to end up the way that we are now. However, scientifically, it could just be that there is a limit to the biological code that exists. Because in a way that like our DNA, like there could just be a limit to the amount of
what could actually qualify as life.
Yeah, like what could exist and stuff like that. Like maybe all bacteria is like the same, like exactly the same. Like like those little water bear things and like the things that like can exist in like all sorts of environments. It doesn't matter. Like what if that is how all life starts out? True. And it is just like. Then there's the question of like, sort of like, what if all life already existed within the Earth and it just spread to different places, and Earth just like where we are now just happened to be where that life got, and then that same bacteria or whatever got on Earth that grew up into what we are now got onto other planets. But even then, like again, the evolutionary chain, which is dependent on the environment, they would still be pretty different.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, even then, just saying that there's a possibility that like our biological just form is limited to just being humans or just being how we are made up right now. I feel like just with the differentiation between just everything that exists in the universe, just the gases and the fucking black holes, the planets, comets, and all these different rock forms, all life forms, I feel like it can't be that case. I feel like it could be anything.
Yeah, like it could be like an infinite number of possibilities of things. Like our Earth alone could have probably evolved into several billion different situations. You know, we could like, some of us could have like purple skin and green skin. Like the way we look now could be totally different depending on like the things that happen in the universe.
Yeah, it depends on the natural occurrences that happened as our species were evolving.
Which is why I like to stress the idea that no matter what technological state humans achieve, we are always at the mercy of nature and our environment.
Yeah,
nature being just like the whole.
Nature wins no matter what.
Yeah, and I don't know. For me personally, I think humanity has this idea that we can like control or like master nature.
Bullshit.
Definitely not.
Do you think we've gone too far?
I think the fact that, I mean, if you believe in climate change, I think we have had this sort of like arrogance that we think like we can control nature, like we can do things and it wouldn't be enough. Like, but Earth will fuck us up.
No,
given the chance.
It's like Earth is what made us, pretty much. Why are we gonna go against what made us?
That is true. That's just human.
It's just it's that belief that we are above all things within nature. And this, and not in terms of like that's actually what we believe, but in terms of our actions, that's kind of what is like what we think. Like we're separate from all the animals in nature, but that definitely isn't true. Like,
no, we are part of these animals. We've said this before too.
But
we've gone deep into how we're fucking animals at heart. We have animalistic tendencies. Mm-hmm. We continually live as animals, but we deem ourselves higher than fucking animals, and that's bullshit. It's such fucking bullshit. And I'll still eat a fucking animal, but I'm not going to think I'm above it just because I have some kind of intellectual capacity.
But think of a lion. A lion eats a gazelle, but, I mean, it still is a part of that nature, you know?
Yeah,
just because
it's part of you to want to do that.
The only thing that separates us from other species of animal is that we know how to create... Well, not even, because birds can make nests, you know? We aren't the only ones who can create tools, but we can create... We don't do anything different from animals. We just do it on a more complex level, yes, but...
Very complex.
I think what separates us from animals the most is that we can actually differentiate at what we think is right and wrong. We hold ourselves to a higher standard than animals would hold themselves because they don't think to that standard.
I don't even know if animals have, like, a standard.
No, they definitely don't. Animals go straight through instinct.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we have like a level of like perception that allows us to kind of go against our instinct or go farther beyond than our instinct. But even then, like, I think animals can at times demonstrate that kind of ability to kind of go against the instinct that they have.
And that's like how we train dogs, cats, like domesticated animals. That's kind of a picture of us importing our knowledge and our behavioral aspects into animals.
And I don't know, sometimes I don't know if we're actually above our own instinct or if
we've learned how to control them.
Not even that, more so if like maybe we have a more complex understanding of our instinct. Like a lion will try to achieve feeding itself in a number of ways, but those ways are usually similar, and we may try to achieve the same thing but maybe in a wider range of ways. Like we're more creative, but we're all just trying to achieve the same thing of satisfying our instinct of, because the thing is we want the same thing as any animal, which would be safety, shelter, you know, security. And sure, I mean, we have defined different systems and different things that allow for that, but we're all just going for the same thing any animal would be going for.
Mm-hmm. We're just making it much more complicated than it has to be, but that's how we thrive as humans. And I feel like just us thinking that we're the shit is gonna be the downfall of
I was about to say that. Yeah, I think that's what's gonna end up taking us. Okay, because we're gonna run out of fucking time soon, so I kind of do want to get into multiverse.
Yes, let's get into that.
And what's that? And that's probably gonna have to be our last topic for today. Sure. So pretty much, I'm gonna skip through a bunch of stuff, and I'm just kind of gonna get into the different levels of multiverses. But multiverses in general is this whole idea that the universe is set into is more seen as a space of completely different universes that all kind of correspond together, and each of these universes creates a whole other world that other types of organisms could live in. They could be like us, they could possibly not be like us.
So do you mean universes that are entirely different, or because I've heard the theory of there being universes where it's like the exact same but one thing is changing,
like the alternate reality a little bit.
Yeah, like there's a reality where I told you that I was busy and so I am not a part of the podcast.
That's the thing. There is one where it's like when you roll a dice, it's a 6 dice, right? And you get 4. There is an outcome for every 1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
But think about
that creates a different parallel universe.
Think about how many different parallel universes there has to be.
Because the
for
number,
every decision you make.
And the thing is, if it depends on every human in the world, then there's a different universe where everything for us right now is exactly the same, but it's different for some fucker named Gary who's like didn't decide to get car insurance or something.
But that's the thing. The universe is so ever expanding that how can you say what it fills or what's filled up with it? And there's all these universes that we might not be able to see because they could be of higher dimension.
I'm just imagining
but if it's like another universe, but where we all exist, we wouldn't be able to even perceive those higher universes, though, right?
No, we might not be able to.
But the thing is, like, even
but just because we don't perceive it doesn't mean they exist.
Yeah, there could be beings on higher dimensions that exist now and within every other universe. There could be a universe where they have, like, actually, this reminds me of a SpongeBob episode, SB129, where Squidward.
This fucker knows the exact episode.
He pulled number.
He came out with the fucking episode number.
Wait, let me be quick about this so we don't run out of time. But there's an episode where Squidward gets into a time machine and goes so far in time where he's in this little white box, and what I think happened is he's
the Chrome episode.
He's in like a universe where higher dimensional beings have just consumed everything. Like, they are entirely in control. And he says, I'm all alone. But then he hears all those other alones, meaning that he's actually not alone. He's surrounded by all these these other
beings.
Like, he can't perceive
of higher
them.
dimension, and he can't see them. Dude, you're blowing my shit up.
Let me tell you, though, I came up with that when I was fucking zooted out of my fucking mind off like 2 bong hits, dude.
I remember. I can kind of remember what scene you're bringing up. Is it the scene where he like lifts up like a black square and then the square just
and it's like and he starts running and he keeps going back, kind of like a fucking like Mario episode where like you'll go to one end but come up on the other. Dude, that shit scared me. When I was younger, I thought it was funny, but now that shit scares the shit out of me.
I can imagine like, just a bunch of kids just watching it and being like,
the thing is like and going back to like the universe idea, like how many, like you can't count the number of universes that must have occurred just now. Like, just speaking within the 10-second time frame that we've been talking, how many universes have been created? Yeah. And the thing is, what I thought, when we were talking about the comparison video of like the size of celestial bodies.
Okay, so there's this one main topic, or one of the different types of multiverses that are like hypothesized that really interest me. Why are you making that face? And it's the brain. It's BRANE. This.
Not our human brain?
No, not our human brain.
Wait, how'd you spell that?
BRANE.
Oh.
So the idea is that the world is on this floating membrane, and that membrane floats on this higher dimension called bulk, and within that higher dimension there are other membranes with their own tiny universes. So it's like a universe on top of a universe on top of a universe on top of a universe, which eventually leads to our universe. And they float on top of each other, randomly colliding, and this collision is what causes big bangs or the creation of new universes.
So you're saying there's like multiple big bangs that are occurring?
Yeah, because I mean, that's again, we're not the only ones that have established like all these other planets, because the creation of Earth was through the Big Bang, right?
Mm-hmm. Or no, like,
So-
fission everything.
So
Yeah.
all these other planets must have had experienced some other kind of Big Bang to form.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just form out of nothing.
Yeah.
So this whole idea is that it's like a membrane on top of a membrane. And I think we've talked about it before, that there is some kind of idea in Buddhism where the whole world, they say that the whole world stands on a turtle. And that turtle is a whole different world that stands on another turtle. And it's just lapping turtles, just like a Jenga of fucking turtles.
Some turtle Tetris.
Yeah. Do you hear my cat?
Yeah.
Fucking. And I think this is so interesting, and just to think that we're just like the tip of the iceberg, like our world. And I feel like there has to be worlds out there that are just so much more higher developed,
Like
and
complex.
universes that are similar to ours but have found that key that technologically advances them to the next level.
I brought that up in my research somewhere about how there's a possibility that there's like civilizations other than us being like just so much more developed than us. Maybe to the point of where they brought themselves to extinction even, but they got to a point where they developed artificial intelligence, like a really smart artificial intelligence, and that could be like the first thing that visits Earth. Just their very far advanced technological advancements meeting us before we get to meet anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that could be a really, I don't know, plausible possibility, just being met by some kind of superficial artificial intelligence, I guess.
That reminds me of a theory that like my dad brought up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where he heard it from, but he told me about like this idea where a universe exists within every atom. So
Dude,
and
that's what I was gonna
our
bring up.
universe exists within an atom of
Yeah.
that is a part of something that we have no idea. But the thing he never talked about, or the thing I've never seen talked about, is like sort of like a ripple effect. Like what happens if because when an atom explodes, or when an atom is like cut in half, or something happens to it, it releases all this energy, causing what we know as a nuclear explosion. So it's like, is that a Big Bang that creates another universe, or does that cause a ripple effect, destroying every universe within the atoms of that universe? And is there always a much larger cascaded universe like beyond the one we know of?
And what if our fucking universe is just that tiny atom?
I just want to get into fetal position now. Just
Inside
hearing
Yeah,
that
I avoid
whole
these kind of thoughts because they tend to give me anxiety.
Because
For
you
real.
start thinking about how insignificant you really
No,
fucking
that's
are.
the thing that you think about.
No, but honestly,
But the thing is, like, atoms aren't insignificant. Like, they are extremely like I said, one atom being sliced causes a nuclear explosion.
they're very
How does
powerful.
one atom contain that much energy?
Yeah, that kind of surprised me when I first learned about just how nuclear explosions happen.
but here's the thing. You say that it kind of gives you, like, anxiety, or it kind of makes you feel bad that we, in general, are pretty insignificant, because there's this whole world around us. Our lives really don't matter that much. But for
On a
me,
larger scale.
I kind of take, like, a kind of happiness in that whatever I do, any kind of fuck up I do, in the large scale, it doesn't matter.
No, it's
Like,
yeah,
I can fix it.
it's the same thing with me. I find comfort in that, because it's like it just means like it just makes the world, like, everything we've come up with now just has this certain level of like self-importance. I'm like, it's honestly not that serious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
living.
and it's
like
it's the moment that you extract yourself from all of that, when you start seeing that I'm not that important. Like, my life isn't that worthwhile, even though to me it may seem like the only thing that matters. In the grand scale of things, it doesn't. Once you see that, it's really, I guess, sort of humbling, but at the same time,
it's
you kinda,
freeing, you know?
Yeah, you kind of see, like, I can do what I want to do, and it's not really going to affect that much.
That's the thing, like when I fail like a final exam, I'm like, well, at least I didn't cause the fall of the Roman Empire, you know? Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean
fuck.
shit, you know?
What was that one guy, the guy we can attribute to starting World War I? that fucking guy's
Oh,
name.
that Austrian guy, I think.
Yeah.
You got assassinated.
Yeah, I already forgot his name.
Franz.
Oh, Archibald, something
Franz
like that.
Archibald,
Fucking
something
Franz.
like that.
Franz Ferdinand.
Ferdinand, something
Wrong
like that.
one.
Dude, I was super far off.
No, it's like
But-
I might have gotten into a car crash, but at least I didn't kill 1 million Jews.
Yeah, I didn't fucking reroute the orbit.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's like, you know, Lovecraft novels. He kind of made these horror novels about these like higher dimensional beings who kind of have more control of the universe, and they kind of show a certain level of insignificance of the human race. But to me, I always thought like it's nice, you know. It's almost like we were insects, and insects don't give a shit about anything. They just do what they do until they die.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like I don't have to do. It's not like a lack of responsibility, but it's more like it's this ability for anything. We could do anything, and it doesn't matter really. Even if it's a horrible thing, at the end of the day, like we're gonna keep going forward. Time still continues and stuff like that.
That is very true.
And I think that should put into perspective that you really should be working towards making yourself happy.
Yeah, like that's the
Like-
thing. Like within our own physical lives,
So
like
what you do have control over.
within
Yeah.
an ant's life, all that matters to that ant is bringing food and like shit like sugar to the queen and to the nest. And if they die doing that, they lived a good life.
That's
So for
romantic
me,
as fuck.
like if I did all the stuff that I defined as a good life, like I don't care what else happens. Like
Yeah, like I don't care. There's so much importance put into like, oh, you have to go to school. Oh, you have to get your education. Oh, you can't do this. There's so many routes that you can take that will lead you to a happy life. And I think at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Yeah. I think that's what separates like people who make art, like films and actual art pieces that we see in the museum, just things that like are creative that we all like really love. That's what separates them from like your average Joe who just goes to work every day, is they don't live within that box of the world having to be a certain way and that shit like actually matter. They're like, no, it doesn't matter. Like you just make whatever you want, you know, as long as you like it. You know?
That's the thing. Like recently, I think that's one thing that's really starting to stick out to me. That sure, I have this 9-to-5 job, or I guess for me it's 7 to 3, and I have all this like a college education, all of that. But I think recently I've really started to think about how that really doesn't matter, because I'm not happy doing what I'm doing. Like, I'm not happy going to work every day. I'm not happy doing that. And I have certain passions in life that I think could be fruitful. And I think I've learned recently that you have to follow these passions. You can't just stick to this uniform life that everybody wants you to stick with, because that's not going to get you anywhere, because you don't really care what you're doing. If you don't care about what you're working on, then you're not going to go anywhere with it. But if you have a passion that you're willing to spend the time doing, if you have the time to do it, and if you have the time to keep working towards it, then nothing's going to stop you from becoming successful in that field that you want to be in.
Fucking tweet. Yo, this space
agree.
talk has turned into a TED talk right now, and I'm here for it.
But fuck, I kind of forgot what I was about to say, but shit, I forgot what I was gonna say.
That's okay. All that matters is that passion's important. And
Yes.
don't give up your passion for stability
Definitely.
and comfort, because that shit doesn't matter. I'd rather struggle all my life and be happy with what I'm doing than be in a shit job and do nothing.
Yeah. But I think I don't know. I think that's like the mistake of humanity, is that we kind of think like the betterment or the benefit of some fucking like company, random company in the world like Amazon or Nike or whatever you can think of, like this idea that we have to dedicate so much of our life to like that a career, you know. It's like that shouldn't really, like, if it were up to me, like we would all kind of be just hippies, you know, just creating whatever the hell we wanted and letting people
weed
experience
and getting
it.
creative.
Yeah, and honestly, like you don't have to do drugs. Like just like the healthiest thing that I think any human can do is just create things. Like I think that's what separates us from other creatures. That we can create things that don't necessarily have anything to do with our survival.
Yeah.
You know, we can just create things for the fun of it. You know.
Yeah, and that's so different from any other animal. They don't have that option. And how come we don't embrace that part of it? How come we have to embrace the part that's like, you have to be productive, you have to be productive? That's bullshit. That's what the fucking government's for.
I think we might have, but like during a certain point during like just human existence,
Like
I
the
think
Renaissance.
during the Renaissance, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
It's just
about.
the fact that we have absolutely zero clue what we're doing. I think
True.
it's this facade that we have some sort of larger importance to the universe when in reality we don't. And so we try to create this system where everyone has a job, everyone has some sort of responsibility, but in reality it's like, I mean, so long as the world isn't exploding, like we're good. We're
But
pretty
I think
good.
that is a way to keep us in check, though.
Yeah, I think it's a thing with stability, but I don't think the current systems we have now, I wouldn't say they're necessarily stable, you know?
Or like the best, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Our ideal.
like I think the thing, I mean, maybe this is just me being like lazy, but I think whatever system requires the least amount of work from people, but results in like the most amount of production in terms of like things that are good for us. I mean, there's like an infinite number of systems. Like we could have a system where everyone just makes whatever the fuck they want, and we have like movie theaters and art museums and like video game companies and shit where we just make all sorts of entertainment, but then we all have to like hunt for our own food and shit. Like we can't go to a grocery store.
So
But
like,
but in the current system, like we need people to work at grocery stores and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, so it's like the systems we have now kind of require those less enjoyable like jobs where people work at gas stations or do like, I know people do like waste disposal, stuff like that. Like people probably aren't hyped to do stuff like that, but we need someone to do things like that because of the current system we have.
But you think, because we're going into more of a generation now where people are starting to stray away from that more. People are they're actually following their passion projects. You're seeing more streamers, you're seeing more YouTubers, you're seeing bloggers, you're seeing a bunch of different ways that people are expressing their art forms. And we're seeing more technology too. We're having self-checkout at grocery stores. We're seeing more of that. So you think that we're starting to stray more away from this day-to-day job kind of life and more into following what we actually believe is our passion.
There is that possibility of all work being dictated by autonomous systems like robots and stuff. If you think of like assembly lines in warehouse, they have robots that repeat the same job, and it used to be that a person would do that job. Like they would do the same thing. I mean, there's still jobs like that where people work on, there's a conveyor belt and they're doing the same thing over and over again, but we have robots that do that. And I think like one day we might have it where robots do all the stuff we don't want to do. They do all that stuff for us, and then we can go and do whatever we want. And in a way, it might, like, I don't know if you guys ever seen WALL-E, but we're all like, where humans were all like really fat and stuff, and they didn't do anything. But I don't think humans would let that happen. I think we would all stay active in some way and create things. It just wouldn't necessarily have to be that anyone would be involved with like the really, really boring shit that humans have to do right now.
At that point where all jobs are autonomous, do you think that money's going to be an issue? Do you think that money's still going to be such a prevalent part of our society?
I think
that some type of currency is always going to have to be there.
Maybe, yeah.
It's some kind of ranking.
I don't know.
Some type of exchange. Ranking in that, too.
I will say there doesn't have to be a currency, but I don't know if humanity can come up with a way of some sort of system of transactions that doesn't require currency.
Yeah. Considering that human emotions aren't going to go away, like we're always going to feel resentment or jealousy or some kind of, or fairness or just contentment or anything like that, that's always going to come about first, like some type of a transaction or something like that. So I feel like we can't prevent that part, but to limit it, we can, I think.
Yeah, I think our society now puts way too much reliance on the idea of currency.
Mm-hmm. Way too much.
And I feel like we can't get out of that.
No, and it's at this point where it's such debt. Everyone's in fucking debt. We live in a society where they want us to stay in debt to live well.
Who knows? Someday a meteor might hit and wipe out.
Kill us, all of us.
Well, not all of us.
Part 2.
Most of us, but not all of us, that we can't rebuild society. And then at that point, we'll be forced to just come up with entirely new systems of. Yeah, I'll be a breeding horse if you want.
PlayStation 4 only. In that universe.
Well, we strayed pretty far from space, but let's bring it back and let's end this with some fun facts from space.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
fun facts.
So, my first one is that space is completely silent, which we went over.
Mm-hmm.
And then the hottest planet in our solar system is 450 degrees Celsius.
Is that
Wait.
the first planet? Is it Venus?
The hottest
Or Mercury?
solar system?
The hottest planet in our solar system
Oh.
is 450 degrees Celsius, which I don't know what that is Fahrenheit.
Is it Mercury?
Let's look that up.
I don't know, I didn't check.
I'm imagining just it's the closest planet to the sun. But you know what's crazy? The fact that we have eclipses, because the sun's fucking like, I don't know how much bigger than the moon. Maybe 4 times, maybe 400 times bigger. Somewhere in between that. But the fact that it can cover the sun, and, like during an eclipse, how the moon can cover the sun perfectly and all aligned from where we're positioned in the universe from the earth to the sun and the moon, how it can just line up perfectly and make an eclipse. How's
That's
that
crazy.
possible? That just happened by chance, maybe. But yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's just a matter of things that are very like things that we're very familiar with, just like shadows. You know, just
Mhm.
putting my hand up against the wall and you can see a shadow. It's the same exact thing.
Mhm.
But on like a very large scale.
On a
Massive
macro
scale.
scale,
The
yeah.
biggest scale you could probably think of,
Yeah.
or for humans.
Just think if like, what if Jupiter could cause like some sort of like blackout? Like, what if?
Yeah. And it like affected how we like lived. Like electricity wasn't gonna work for.
Yeah.
maybe a
Like,
little bit.
like, what if there was a period every like century where there was like 20 years of just absolute darkness?
Like,
Like,
oh yeah. we're gonna
like
enter
the
the
sun
Ice
was
Age.
always eclipsed by some planet for like 20
That'd be
years.
So
like,
scary.
I would. I mean, in
the
a,
amount of crime that would increase by then.
yeah. I mean, in Alaska alone, like there's a month where there's no sun, and they say that's the high. They have the highest level of suicides during that
Yeah,
time.
because you need sunlight, dude.
Alaska?
When I lived in
Yeah.
China, like there would be weeks where we would go with like really minimal sunlight because either it would be too foggy or there would be too much pollution or it was just so cold that there's so many clouds
I
in
can't
the sky.
imagine that, dude. I always imagined there being the sun.
Nope,
Maybe being
because you live
California.
in motherfucking California. And that's not everywhere.
Don't fucking.
Yeah, California is a place that
Yeah.
like never doesn't have sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like
Earthquakes are our biggest thing.
it changes your perspective. Like it changes how you feel because you need sunlight. That photosynthesis shit.
But the thing is, like, you can get used to that. Like, I remember when I was in Scotland, like, in years ago, and it was the summer. It didn't get dark. Like, it was gray outside. It wasn't
At night?
dark. It wasn't, like, yeah, it wasn't dark. It was gray.
That's cool.
Like, even when the sun was down, you could see everything clearly.
What the fuck?
And
That's
it was
kinda
so
cool.
weird to me. But I'm like, dude, the people who live here must be, like, used to this.
Yeah.
But,
You've been to Scotland?
Yeah, that was new to me too.
yeah, I mean, my sister graduated from school in Scotland, so that's why we were there. But
Oh,
What?
Holy shit.
Learning so much.
But I didn't know that was a thing where it just didn't get dark during the
yeah,
night.
like the way the just like the day and night cycles work in different countries can be like really different.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, just within like Alaska's part of the U.S.
Yeah,
and
it
it can
is.
be like there's apparently like just a month where it's completely dark.
That's
It's
a new
barely part of the
information to me.
U.S. though.
Yeah.
Barely.
It's fucking Canada.
I don't know. I mean, I wonder. I don't know how many people live in Alaska, but
I want to live in Alaska.
I would not. I mean, no, I would never.
I bet there's meese in Alaska. I want to see a moose.
There's a meese.
Well, that was an episode.
That was definitely an episode. We went on a bunch of tangents there.
Yeah, I don't.
Hopefully-
We barely touched on my notes, to be honest. But it was good. I liked it. EJ, thank you for being on here. We
You're
loved you.
welcome.
You're definitely coming back on.
Round of
'cause-
I would
Applause.
actually love to be a permanent member
Yeah.
of this
Oh,
podcast.
we can talk about this.
We'll discuss that later. We'll
All right.
discuss that.
So, thank you guys for watching.
Thank
I'm
you so
Jonas,
much. And I'm Valentine.
and that's EJ.
EJ.
Yo yo yo.
Love this guy. You might probably actually see him more often in the future.
I would love to be here more often, honestly.
And that's all we got for today. That was Space.
Yeah.
If you liked us, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at HigherEDUPod.
All one word. Fuck Facebook.
Fuck
You can't find
Facebook.
us
You
on
can't
there.
find
Fuck
us
Facebook.
there. And you can email us at Higher Education Podcast 1@gmail.com. And a few other new things is if you're watching us on YouTube, because we're just going to be on YouTube for the first time.
Live in the flesh.
This is our first episode, and you guys can like, subscribe, comment, all that good shit right down below.
Make some funnies in the comment section.
Yeah, and if you're not watching us on YouTube, just go to YouTube and like, comment, and subscribe, and all that shit, no matter what.
Please.
And I also am starting a new podcast with my friend Nathan. It's going to come out every Sunday. It's called the Broken Light Bulb Podcast. You look out for it this Sunday. I'll probably link it in our Instagram.
And I'm a special guest in the first episode.
Valentine definitely comes in.
So stay tuned.
And I think that's all. Oh, Texture Boy Studio.
Texture Boy Studios.
We also got a YouTube channel, Texture Boy Studios, where we're just going to do fun shit.
That's our whole network.
So you can check us out. And we're all the podcasts that we're going to be coming out with and different ideas, it's all going to go through there. So make sure you go in there and check it out. And that's all we got today.
Yeah, and until next Thursday.
Yeah,
bye.
And maybe EJ will be here.
Hopefully I see you guys again.
We'll decide to let him out of his room.
What?
All right, see you guys. Love you guys. Mwah.